Hi everybody, I'm back with chapter 2 of Joey Pigza Loses Control. I'm on chapter 2, Dog-Eared. Bad things started not long after school has ended, and Mom was leaving me home alone all day because she had to work. She had given me a trumpet and the Herb Alpert tape, and wanted me to learn all the songs. But it was too hard, so I only learned a few of the sounds. Mostly Pablo and I hung out in our fenced-in little backyard, which was all dirt and rocks and dry islands of dead grass that looked like knotted-up troll hairs and were as hard to pull up as if I was pulling out one of those wrinkly little people right out of the ground. Pablo and I were digging into the dirt with the splintered handle of a broken baseball bat and collecting good throwing rocks. When I had a pile of them, about 25 roundish ones, I started throwing them like some maniac pitching machine. Wham! 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 One right after another at a target I had drawn on the wood fence. Their echo cracked through the neighborhood. I was so good I got a bullseye almost every time. But then I got bored, and I had to make it harder. So I bent over and side-armed one between my legs. I wasn't so good that way, because the stone went flying over the fence, and then I heard something break. So I stopped and I ran inside. A few minutes later, a man knocked on our door, but I was hiding behind the couch. And after he had said some bad words, he finally went away. And that's when I searched the house for new things to do. And I found a dart set in the attic. There's a lot of game stuff up there that must have belonged to my dad, and since he wasn't in the picture anymore, I took it for mine. I went down to the living room and drew a bunch of animals with bullseye heads on pieces of paper, which I taped on couch pillows. I scattered them around the room and started to practice. I'd spin around a few times, then screech to a sudden stop and wing a dart at the closest bullseye. I was pretty good and really liked having to throw the darts when I was dizzy. Even as the room was spinning like a wobbly carousel, I was still pretty good. I hit all the targets somewhere, and one time I kept spinning until everything was blurry, like when you tape bottle bottoms over your eyes, and when I stopped, I threw a dart at the first animal I saw, and I heard Pablo yelp. And when I could get my balance back and focus my eyes, I found him quivering in the corner of the couch with a dart through his ear. I called to him, but he didn't say a word. At first he just sat there stunned and stared with his shiny bug eyes at me like he couldn't believe I had hurt him. And then he went nuts and was running around the room, yapping and hopping and dragging that dart around. When I finally cornered him, I told him he was going to be okay. And he was okay. Because the dart had gone just through the skin of his ear and made a clean hole. It was like I poked through a soft piece of suede. There was only about a drop of blood spilled, but the sight of the blood really makes him hysterical. So I held him down and tried to cover his eyes as I pulled the dart out. Whoa, he went berserk, and I got worried the hole might get infected and he would have to have his ear amputated and go to his own doggy special ed for disabled dogs. So I wrapped him up, carried him down to the hair salon to get Mom's opinion on if we should take Pablo to the vet or just put one of my old patches on him. She was in the middle of teasing out a woman's hair when I brought Pablo in wrapped in a bath towel, and she gave me a pretty stressed out look. It was an accident. The dart went right through his ear, I explained. But I was aiming at a moose. Oh, sugar, she said. Sugar. Now let me see what you've done to poor Pablo. I told her we were only playing nice, and she said to the lady that she'd be back in a minute and grabbed me by the arm, and we dashed into the back room full of shampoo smells. She opened a first aid kit, put iodine on Pablo's ear, and then a Band-Aid on each side of the hole. He was fixed. But Mom and You are not, because she was steaming mad. Oop, that's my 9-month-old puppy, Leva. I can't do my work if I have to worry about what trouble you're cooking up all day long, she said. No more trouble, I said. I'll just sit and play my trumpet. But I've been thinking, could I have one of your hoop earrings for Pablo? You won't let me pierce my ear, but, since he already has a hole. I've had it, Mom said. I've had it up to here. And she held her hand up to her forehead. But there was still an inch to go to the tippy top of her head, so she hadn't had it with me completely. It's not my fault, I said quietly. I think my patch wore down. Well, that's not the only thing, or the only thing worn down is that excuse, she said right back. I could plaster you in patches and you would still do the same nutty stuff. Don't raise your voice. You know it upsets Pablo, I said. Well, I thought she was going to burst into flames. She was so mad. Okay, she said to herself, and she shoved her hands into her pocket like she was digging for change. Take a deep breath. Count to 10. Maybe daycare is the answer. Well, maybe I could get a job here with you, I suggested. I could wash hair. You'd put us out of business in a week, she said, starting to come around. You'd scrub those old lady heads down to a nub. They'd look like the little bald spot you wore down on your own crown, picking and scratching. I touched my head and gave her a hurt face, because my bald spot was a sensitive subject. Oh, I'm sorry. She grabbed me and gave me a hug and said we'd figure something out. After she went back to work, Pablo and I marched home. Pablo was fine, and as soon as I unlocked the front door, we ran to Mom's jewelry box and got a big hoop earring because, well, she hadn't said no, exactly. I put it through Pablo's hole and I called him Pirate Matey Pablo. Then we turned the couch into a pirate ship. I got a sheet and hoisted it up with a floor lamp, clamped a steak knife between my teeth, and we got busy attacking other ships. When Mom came home, she caught me sword fighting with my patch over my eye and lipstick blood on my shirt and arms. She sent me to my room to chill out while she mixed a drink. Now, do you really feel like your meds are really wearing off? She asked when she came to check up on me and found me washing my hands. Can I get back to you on that? I shouted and fell over.